I'm going to tell you everything you need to know before buying the Anvil Gladiator, and we're starting right now.
Anvil Aerospace, all systems online.
Thank you so much to all the support from patrons, channel members, and Twitch subscribers. Welcome to A Star Citizen's Buyer's Guide. This is SubliminaL here, and today we'll be discussing the features, functions, and benefits of the Anvil Gladiator. We'll cover a brief overview, take a tour, compare stats with similar ships, review pros and cons, and I'll give you my thoughts on the Gladiator. If you haven't seen it, my loadout guide for the Anvil Gladiator can be found here and on the end screen. I go live on Twitch just before every YouTube release. Come and hang out. Enough with the formalities, let's get to it. The Gladiator is a two-seat light combat bomber developed by Anvil Aerospace for the United Empire of Earth Navy. It was designed as a combination fighter-bomber companion to the Anvil F-7A Hornet lineup of spacecrafts, offering the UEEN the ability to significantly increase the overall offensive power of smaller escort carriers and support ships. The Gladiator has been a key part of the UEEN skirmisher forces since the 2930s and was recently made available to the civilian market for private enterprises and militia groups. Anvil Aerospace is a Terra-based human spacecraft manufacturing corporation founded in 2772 that produces both military and civilian crafts. The F-7 Hornet and the F-8 Lightning are among the Anvil spacecrafts currently produced for all branches of the United Empire of Earth military. Since the foundation of the company, all final designs of the spacecraft must be approved by the CEO. As of today, the Gladiator is not available for sale or upgrade on the Pledge Store standalone, but when it does, it sells for $165 for a very limited time. It is available as a loaner for Retaliator owners, and the Gladiator is available for purchase in-game for almost 2 million Alpha UEC. Now that you know a little bit more about the Anvil Gladiator, let's take a tour. If you'd like to skip this tour, the timestamp is on screen and in the description. The first thing I notice is the Gladiator's broad stance. It has landing gear in the front, back, and on each wing. Up top, above the cockpit, we have the non-slave gunner-controlled turret. Underneath, we have the torpedo bay door with 4 size 5 missiles. The first thing we see under the wing is the fixed size 3 weapon hardpoint that is pilot-controlled, followed by 2 size 3 missile racks, each holding 2 size 2 missiles. I love how that landing gear tucks into the wing. Around the rear, we can see its dual main thrusters. I think the rear of the Gladiator is beautiful. The starboard side is identical to the port side. Also, the nose isn't bad either. A ground level walk around doesn't really do the Gladiator justice. From the top here, we can see its dome. I'm not 100% sure what this will be in the future, but here's a quote from StarCitizen.tools. I'm skeptical of it becoming a reality because it's not mentioned in the Galactipedia page, but it does sound cool. Let's climb inside the cockpit first. Similar to a lot of other Anvil ships, the cockpit extends the pilot seat down to pick up the pilot. Inside, we have the now standard building blocks UI HUD. Above this, we have annunciator panels, and below these, we have a 3D radar. Further down, we have 6 MFDs. The Gladiator does have an ejection feature. Let's take a look at the turret seat. It also extends down from the same opening as the pilot's, and is technically visible behind the cockpit. The turret gunner has access to 4 MFDs and a 2D radar. It also doesn't seem to have an ejection feature. It does, however, have some of the best visibility I've seen from a turret on a ship. Now that we've taken a tour, let's see how it compares to other ships you might be considering. For comparison, I've selected 10 ships, some missile boats, some multi-crew ships, and some bombers. The Google Sheet document with the data is linked in the description. The Anvil Gladiator weighs in at over 87,000 kilograms and takes 5th place. It fits in at 22.5 meters in length and ties in 4th place. It totes 0 SCU of cargo as well as most other ships on this list. It has a max crew size of 2 and ties in 6th place. It carries 583 quantum fuel units and ties in last place with 3 other ships compared. It crawls by with an SCM speed of 151 meters per second and takes 7th place. It strolls by gingerly with a max speed of 983 meters per second and takes 7th place again. It has a maximum pitch rate of 70 degrees per second and takes 1st place. It has a maximum yaw rate of 70 degrees as well and takes 1st place again. These are totally unexpected. It has a maximum roll rate of 104 degrees per second and takes 5th place. It has a total hull HP of 7,800 and takes 9th place. It has a physical armor damage reduction of 4% and ties in 3rd place. It has an energy armor damage reduction of 10% and ties in 2nd place with 6 other ships compared. It has an EM, IR, and CS reduction of 0%. The only ship on this list with stealth reductions is the Eclipse. It shoots Ps with a default pilot DPS of under 1,000 and takes 8th place. It shoots its way through with a default pilot DPS of 880 and ties in 4th place with the Cuddy Black. It has a stock missile payload of over 64,000. It takes 7th place surprisingly, but keep in mind that pound for pound, this is excellent. And the Anvil Gladiator is available for sale in-game for a little under 2 million Alpha UEC and takes the 4th spot. I'm excited to announce a new ARC series, Vessels of the Verse. This will be the first of many designs that will be released alongside buyer's guides and loadout guides. They will be available on Displayed in 48 hours, on the merch store in 24 hours. Desktop wallpapers are available right now to Twitch subs, patrons, and YouTube channel members, and mobile wallpapers are available for free via link in the description. Alright, let's weigh some of the pros and the cons. I would say its pros are, as far as metrics are concerned, pound for pound, its missile payload is great. And the 31,000 meter range of those torps means that if you can see your target, you can probably lock and fire on them. Considering its payload, it's pretty small. It is also pretty nimble, with an excellent max pitch and yaw rate. It's one of few ships that have a physical and energy damage reduction. For such a small ship, its turret damage potential is pretty good, equivalent to that of the Cutlass Black. Having the ability to bring along another player is great, and having a mid 4,000 resting IR signature means that it can stay pretty stealthy if properly equipped. For cons, I'd say its pilot damage potential is not great with just 2 size 3s. The hull HP is pretty bad, but it seems to be a characteristic of bombers and more than just Star Citizen. Its speed is terrible with its atrociously low max speed and SCM speeds. This is just my opinion, but I think bombers should have extended range quantum fuel tanks, and the Gladiator has the minimum. Also, another opinion of mine is that bombers should also have a size 2 radar. Because of the Gladiator's size 1 radar, it can't take full advantage of that 30k lock range of the size 5 missiles. And lastly, its top cross section is terrible. If you get caught from the top or the bottom, it's a wrap. So what are my thoughts? Well, the Gladiator fits into a role of its own. It's something that I think is needed in Star Citizen to have diversity amongst different classes of ships. It's a small bomber with torpedoes, and if properly equipped, it can maintain enough stealth to certainly lock and fire missiles outside of its detection range. This is what makes the Gladiator great. However, I don't think it's enough to get players to actually purchase and fly one. Don't believe me? Well, leave a comment below if you've either never heard of this ship or simply forgot about its existence. What can CIG do to fix this? Well, a buff would be nice. Since bringing another player along while you stealthily hunt player bounties that will probably just run and combat log isn't fun, why not slave the turret to the pilot's control? This would give the Gladiator more viability against PvE encounters. You can use it like a light fighter with a heavy missile payload. Or they can buff the weapon sizes similar to what we just saw them do on the Hurricane. Plus, the size 5 missiles aren't strong enough to take down larger ships like fully upgraded Vanguards or anything with more shield capacity. So this means that the Gladiator is adept at bombing light fighters and medium-sized ships, further niching itself and giving more towards the argument of needing a buff. Another important point is its price. $165 compared to $290 for a Harbinger seems reasonable considering its capabilities. However, its in-game price is outrageous at just 100,000 Alpha UEC less than the Harbinger, rendering this limited sale on the Pledge Store ship useless to buy in the verse. If it were priced more in line with the Anvil Hurricane, it could possibly make more sense. With all that being said, the Gladiator is another ship that isn't bad, but just doesn't have much of a reason to purchase it in-game or outside of it. Those are my thoughts. Let me hear yours down in the comments, as well as if you've heard of, forgot about, or frequently use the Gladiator. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my loadout guide for the Gladiator here. Remember, I'm live on Twitch right now, come and hang out. If you enjoy this channel, there are 6 ways to support it. Number 1, you can smash that like button. Number 2, you can share this content with someone who may enjoy it. Number 3, you can check out my Vessels of the Verse collection over at Displate and in the merch store. Number 4, you can follow me on Twitch. I go live after almost every YouTube release, and Twitch Prime subs help support the channel. Number 5, you can subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the circle here. And number 6, if you're feeling generous, consider becoming a channel member or even better, a patron. Some pledge perks can be seen here, including desktop versions of my Vessels of the Verse collection available to all patrons and channel members. If not, just sticking around until the end is greatly appreciated. Until next time, citizens, I'll see you in the verse.